Hello there. Welcome to this week's Data Radio Show. As you can probably hear, I've been a little bit under the weather this week with the flu. My throat's not playing ball. So I asked Sam to step in and do this week's episode. He sits down and has a chat with Tech Data's lead scientist, Shang Lan, who we've spoken to a couple of times before. He wanted to have a look really specifically into how we can use AI prompting to help us create our own content, whether or not it's something like writing a blog post or a script or research papers, and how using the right kind of prompt work we can get there in the end with the way that large language models are evolving. So I'm going to pass it over to Sam and Shung. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
And today I'm joined by Shang Lan, data scientist and AI specialist from Tech Data Australia, based in Melbourne. Welcome, Shang.
Thank you, Sam. Glad to be here.
Today we wanted to show how generative AI has the potential to change how you research and develop everything from discussion papers to scripts to ebooks and blog posts. Much like having a university intern at your disposal to perform research and help you develop business cases or put forward a point of view, large language models and GPT agents can be applied to sifting through information to discern patterns and speed up the time to insight and value. And I guess to illustrate this particular point, we have our picture here of an army of young interns that you bring into the office. These are the AI chatbots and AI agents that you start to see and start to be utilized to perform these research tasks. So both Watson X and ChatGPT or OpenAI have different versions of these interface windows that you can leverage to perform this task. So in the example that we're going to talk about, it's actually from an event that there was that we wanted to set up a scenario where we'd send our interns off to this festival, which happens to be called CogX Festival. It's had 500 speakers. They've had 3 different summits at different times. There have been thousands of startups that have participated in it, quite a large audience. It was held in London in September of this year. And Shung is going to step us through the setup process that there was around, okay, we're going to send this young intern off to CogX and come back to us with some insights or different ways of understanding what was going on there. So Shang, talk us through the process that you went through.
This application we developed under a framework called RAG, which stands for Retrieval, Augmented, and Generative. So what that means, think about this scenario. You ask a question about CogX, and the first step is to retrieve all the relevant information regarding CogX, which we call retrieval. Then with this relevant information plus your questions, that is the augmented part. So augment your questions. The third part, the generative, will be we take this augmented information, go to a large language model, then generate the response. And for this use case, we have 3 main components. The first one will be the knowledge base, which we basically go to this website, YouTube website, have this all 96 videos regarding the CogX, and we have all the transcript as our knowledge base. The second part will be this retrieval part. It's like a data search engine to retrieve all this relevant data. The last part will be the large language model to generate the response. So what we are seeing here is we have this interface built on Watson X Assistant. Then I ask a question. Do you know CogX? So now this chatbot will so this question is not specific regarding cogx. The video is just response based on its already have knowledge. Then we ask a specific question: is any AI governance topic on cogx 2023? So here we'll do that retrieval augmented generative steps to have this response based on the data we provided. And we can see here, this is a response. And at the bottom, we show that this response is based on this video. The video, as you can see, is AI is coming and we are not prepared. So this is how we build this application to answer the user questions, but with a specific knowledge base.
Marvelous. I guess one of the things that comes up in discussions around the use of generative AI is this question of hallucinations. Talk to us a little bit about how we balance so-called creative answers versus the accuracy of the answers that a chatbot might actually undertake.
Yeah. So for hallucination is like that mean the answer from this generative AI seems right, but it's not fact-based, and or we call that wrong information. And Sam, you bring up a great point is that the creative answer and this accuracy. So that means like in different scenario, hallucination could be a advantage, like a features we want, or can be some concern when people use that. For example, when we want to do the research assistant, we want our response is fact-based, or we have something to reference to check the response. But if we do some art creation, we create an image or create a video, we want to create something new, right? It's like nothing have before. There we want the large language to be more creative. So hallucination is kind of like a features we want to have. And in technical point, like we do have some configurations when we use this large language model to set how creative we want. We don't want any creative, or we want it to be more creative. So that is something we can control, but based on different scenario, we need to find the good balance.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's relevant in terms of how you pull something like a research assistant together. And in this particular example here, we've got the chatbot or the context-aware AI assistant that you saw earlier, and now I'm starting to ask it questions as if it was an intern. So if I think about the process that I would go through getting someone else to attend cogx, and what would be the output that I would want from that. So in this particular example, I've asked it to create an outline for a 3,000 word report on the key information presented at cogx this year. And one of the things that's striking about the responses that we're getting from these AI assistants is they're very similar in nature to that which you would see from a 20-something, fresh-faced intern attending an event like this. So it kind of lacks a little bit of context, but they're picking up the key points here. So in this outline, you can see that there are 6 different points from AI and health to AI and society, future predictions, risks associated with AI. These were all things that were discussed. And the next step that I would take with an intern who's come back to me with some sort of outline would be, okay, that outline looks pretty good. Now, can you expand upon that and write the first section, being the introduction? And so that's what I've asked it to do. I've asked it to expand upon the answer that it first gave. Exactly how I might do that with a regular intern. And it's coming back with some reasonably interesting insights in terms of some of them are a little bit general, some of them are a bit more specific. So, the next thing I've asked it to do is write section 2, and it's come back with not really enough in terms of what it was that I was looking for. So I've asked it to expand upon that to 750 words. But interestingly enough, it's saying, I'm sorry, but as an AI, I'm designed to provide concise responses. So I've asked it to expand upon it. And as I read through this, one of the things that stands out are ethical considerations in the development and deployment of AI, and some of the risks that are associated with the deployment of artificial intelligence. And so I'm now probing for examples. Were there any examples presented? And it's come back with, well, yes, it did in terms of film production. So then I ask, did he share any insights on the cost of film production using AI? And you can see here that with this example, Lionsgate blockbuster fail. So the name of the movie was, I beg your pardon, the name of the movie was Fall, where rather than reshooting 30 lines, they removed the swear words and made a family-friendly version in less than a week. Now, to reshoot something is quite a substantial cost if you've got any sense of filmmaking. So it's an example of how if you're probing with the right questions with this AI research assistant, you're going to find what it is that you're looking for. But it's not the same as interrogating Google or asking Bing. I guess one of the things that we've learned over time is how to ask questions of Google or Bing. And I guess, Shung, from your experience, what are you noticing in terms of the importance of asking the right probing questions and interrogating?
Yeah, great question. And this demo, and this is, I think, this great demo. The first point, like you said, when you expand 750 words, that one actually is a setup in the large language model. I want this large language model to be precise and short in the response. That's good. It confirmed with you before it go to that expand. Yeah, and when this prompt, or we call that prompt engineering, or to ask better question, that is like iteratively process. So when you start, maybe you will start with some question without enough context to give you the right answer. You kind of try that many times. Every time you add more details or add more context for large language model to give you more relevant questions. So I think that I like your analogy to like work with an intern, since I remember when I worked as an intern, the question or the requirement from my manager the first time maybe not very clear, and I take that and go back to work next time. When the manager see my work, give more feedback. Right, you should do this in this format, not in. You should do this with more details. Expand this section A like you do in that demo. So I think it's very similar to work as an intern, and you iteratively interact with large language model with more detail, and you will get better response.
Yeah, I suppose one of the interesting things about that is that the process is much quicker than working with a human. Like if I was your manager, as you've just described, and I asked you to go away and research this, it would take you, maybe a day or a couple of hours to figure it out, come back. What we're seeing is that this is taking place in the speed of seconds, in terms of being able to iterate and understand context better and effectively learn as it goes. Which I guess brings us to the question around, what are you seeing in terms of how long it takes to, first of all, build these models, and this demo. Talk to us a little bit about how long it took you to pull this together.
Yeah, for this demo, it takes us around 2 days to, like, when I have the idea, then do search how to do it, then do the hands-on coding, then have this as a demo. So that is, I think, is significant improvement compared to a few years ago. For example, a good experience I have is to build a HR chatbot when I work with a consulting company. So that is a proof of concept. We have 4 teammates, like full stack developer, data scientist, business analyst, and it takes around like 16 weeks to deliver that proof of concept. And that is also have like a lot of limitation in the scope. Like you can only do up to 5 customer journeys, and each journey you only can answer like 20 or 30 questions. But if I would do that today, I think we'll maybe 4 weeks, and with the less skill I will need. For example, the data science part, maybe before we need 4 weeks for data scientists to train the classifier to find the right questions. For now, with large language model, that is like the out of the box capability from large language model. It can identify, in theory, many questions, and also to identify how to navigate the conversation with customer. That is reduced time. Overall, I think 4 weeks compared to the 16 weeks before, we see a 75% reduction for this POC delivery. And for this use case, callbacks, consider in reality you send an intern to the meeting for 3 days, then come back. The time we spend and this money we spend on this is significantly reduced.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to quantify in terms of what's the actual cost of sending somebody to a conference that might be around the corner, or it might be on the other side of the world. But the essential point here is that it took you roughly how long to ingest the 96 videos?
Oh yeah, that is another good point. So for that 96 video is in total 50 hours. But when we use this transcript, it's like 3 minutes. You have all this transcript in your knowledge database.
So the process that you went through was to ingest the transcripts from the videos, and
Yeah.
roughly how long did it take for you to gather the transcripts, upload them, and effectively build the model that you could actually interrogate?
That will be the half-day effort. So when to start and to the end, to have all this end-to-end application set up.
And I guess that gives you a sense of just how things are changing, and
Yeah.
what becomes possible from the point of view of conducting research and assisting you in creative writing and creative endeavors, if you like.
Yeah.
And I guess what we're seeing with generative AI is that it really does change this process, much like as we described before. We've become conditioned to interrogating Google or Bing in a certain way. And now we're seeing an evolution of a more intelligent way of sifting through information, where the creature on the other side being the AI research assistant, has a much greater level of understanding of or at least is mimicking the fact that it has a much greater level of understanding of the content. And as you were pointing out, it's learning each time you're asking it another question or probing in a particular area.
Yep.
Right, that's the episode. Again, thanks to Sam and Shung for stepping in and getting this one in the bag for me. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody about the video. Let everybody know what's going on. There was some really interesting stuff in there that I've made many notes about while I've been putting it all together. Until next week, make sure you have a fantastic time, and may the force be with you.